Shadow grid. Shadow grid.
Come here, shadow grid. Witnessed last night, and 4 nights ago, I know what you're saying, you was tripping, man. No, not that time. We looked at the sky and we see like the clouds were coming past really quick, and it was almost a full moon, so there's a gap when we're looking at the moon, and all of a sudden the sky just went stopped and shook and started again. We both witnessed it like a dozen times, guys. It was the fucking weirdest thing. The whole sky just stopped. Clouds going 9 miles an hour, just then they shook, and then he started again. Whole fucking matrix is coming undone. And I'll show you some more of that matrix coming undone right now. So let's get it. Shadow grids. What the fuck are they? This was outside last night, outside here where I am. Now some people have proposed it's dozens of LED lights in street lighting. Yeah, I think they replaced all the lights in the world during Rona. I get that, yeah, but that's not what you see here, guys. Look, the tree is illuminated by the tree. The light illuminates the tree, you can see it. The grid pattern comes all the way out to here, and it's moonlight. It was an unbelievable moon. And this is like when I seen about 3 years ago that subjective experience thing that people were saying was happening with the eclipse shining through a tree. You know what we're doing. So last night, this happened. What I'm looking at, scientifically I can't work it out, you know, it looks like wave function. I don't think it's anything to do with the LED. The shadows came out in a three, like it even looked three-dimensional grid pattern. The weirdest thing is, look at that, you can see, right, so what the fuck is all this out here from the moonlight, guys? You'll see now, when the candles pass, it's just what the fuck are we looking at? Unbelievable stuff. See it right the way down the road. Just fucking nuts. Dome lag. That's interesting. Well, it wasn't little wings, but 4D. It really did look 4D. Would have been worse on mushrooms. It would have been.
About Rudolf Steiner, an Austrian architect, but really like into occult stuff. I mean, if you go to Wikipedia and stuff, there's like a huge amount of information about this guy. 1861, 1925, and it goes like this. Eliminate the soul with medicine. In the future, and this is like quoted words from him, in the future, we will eliminate the soul with medicine. I'm reading here. Under the pretext of a healthy point of view, there will be a vaccine by which the human body will be treated as soon as possible directly at birth, so that the human being cannot develop the thought of the existence of soul and spirit. Two materialistic doctors will be entrusted the task of removing the soul of humanity, as today people are vaccinated against the disease or that disease, so in the future children will be vaccinated with a substance that can be produced precisely in such a way that people, thanks to the vaccination, will be immune to being subjected to the madness of spiritual life. He would be extremely smart, so referring to the human being, but he or she would not develop a conscience, and that is the true goal of some materialistic circles. With such a vaccine, you can easily make the etheric body loose in the physical body. Once the etheric body is detached, the relationship between the universe and the etheric body would become extremely unstable, and man would become an automaton, so robot, for the physical body of man must be polished on this earth by spiritual will. So the vaccine becomes a kind of Ahrimanic force. Man can no longer get rid of a given materialistic feeling. He becomes materialistic of constitution and can no longer rise to the spiritual. And this guy was a prominent figure, you know, he was rich, he had power, and he was part of like these like occultist, like, I don't know what you want to call them, Illuminati, Masonic or groups, whatever. Back in the days, you know, in the 19th century and early 20th century. There's some like really good movies made since the 80s and the 90s, especially in the 21st century, about actually like that. You know, people. There's one actually movie really good called Equilibrium, which is very, very good. Like people have no emotions, they're soulless and stuff, and that's because they get some substances or like pills or whatever. So yeah, hey. You know, that's, you know, if this quote is actually really real and he said this in the 19th or like early 20th century, that's like amazing. So yeah, just so you know. See you next time.
I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, things will never be the same in this world. People's health is diminishing, and many people are losing their lives suddenly, without warning. And now we have something else to watch out for and add to the list. It reminds me of the movie The Ring, where the apparition of the demon causes the person to die where the body is left contorted. Now guys, nobody, and I mean nobody, knows what the hell they just put into their bodies. Even with all the doctors and scientists and documents that exist, nobody really knows what they just did to themselves. One of the theories behind what is happening here is that this is another side effect of one of Big Pharma's products. Let's just put it that way. Another theory is that this has something to do with 5G. And of course, there is the theory of paranormal activity. Vertigo, which is an inner ear problem, would cause the room to look like it's spinning, but it wouldn't cause you to involuntarily spin in circles while swatting at something no one else can see. And I want you to notice the position of the arms and legs once the person falls in paralysis, with the arms and legs extended stiffly in front of the body. This is how demonic attacks work. And I don't believe that these spirits around us, I think the Bible says that if you could see them, you would shudder. I don't think that they are allowed by God to just go around and give people deadly seizures like the little girl in the ring. Although, that's what it looks like, right? We just can't see the little girl. And what's crazy about these cases is that these people are falling down with their mouths wide open. Creep-P with an extra P. Now, as far as I can tell, I'll tell you a secret. After everything that I have looked at on the subject of what's going on inside people's bodies now, since they drink the sauce, is I feel like there is this common engineered parasite trying to grow inside the body in an attempt to take it over, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, in a sense. And I am sure you guys have seen some of the footage of what they have been pulling out of people lately.
Why, for the first time in 50 years or so, Moore's Law no longer applies. The very first automatic mechanical computing device was built in 1822 by English polymath Charles Babbage. It was pretty basic by today's standards. It was powered by a hand crank for a start. But Babbage's device was capable of automatically computing values for polynomial functions, the analytical engine. As it happened, this was to be the first ever design for a general-purpose programmable computer. And when Ada Lovelace became the first computer programmer in history, Babbage's metaphorical electronic offspring have changed the world beyond all recognition. Despite the famous prediction of one-time IBM CEO Tom Watson, who in 1943 estimated the total global market for computers would stretch to around 5, yes, he meant a global demand for 5 individual computers, there are now thought to be more than 2 billion of the things in homes and offices, exponentially has achieved in recent decades. Now, you might be sitting there thinking to yourself whether we actually need more computing power. After all, if we could fly to the moon on a glorified pocket calculator, the most powerful computers of today should be able to do pretty much anything. Summit. It's the size of around 2 basketball courts and uses 136 miles of cables. It's capable of executing a quintillion operations per second.
Analog, or analog as it's been shortened, just means having agreement or relation with something else. Like an analogy in storytelling. Take, for example, old film cameras. These were analog because they were an analog representation of the real world. In fact, early cameras were nothing more than a box with a circular cutout allowing light in, and leaving an etched image that was analogous to the real world. Maybe a bit blurry and fuzzy, black and white, or upside down, but analogous nonetheless. Let's do a quick rundown of what a neural network is. Artificial just means that the architecture and underpinnings are designed around the idea of the neurons in our brain. Our brain has over 86 billion neurons that connect through synapses. Analogously, in an artificial neural network, the nodes are interconnected to other nodes to form a network. Keeping things pretty high level, you can think of a neural network as a series of layers, read from left to right. The first column is the input layer. This can be as simple as one input for simplicity, or hundreds or thousands. Imagine each input corresponding to the pixel of an image image for a self-driving computer, for example. The next columns are hidden layers. If you've ever heard the term deep neural network, that just means a lot of hidden layers where a lot of manipulation is happening. Finally, you have the output layer, where the nodes finally give answers. The magic happens when you break down the operations at play. Ultimately, it's matrix multiplication. You start with a random series of numbers for the weight, and wait for an incorrect answer, like the model claiming a square is a circle. When this happens, you assign the values to the weight, influencing the future output. But remember that weight value? That's multiplied to each node before adding them up. So how could an analog computer perform multiplication? Well, keeping our electrical engineering hats on, the easiest way would be adding resistance. Ohm's law tells us that voltage equals IR. For digital computers, the fastest means of storing data is memory via the memory bus. So larger complex neural networks can have massive amounts of data, particularly the weight we discussed in memory.
Now, we've been all over the South of America. Went on a crazy tour up to Colorado and New Mexico, seen some unbelievable things. But something that did happen, which is as weird as fuck, was we got sort of, how can I put this? Okay, we got stuck on Route 66. Apparently everybody knows about it. So get your kicks on Route 66. Apparently, I think everybody knows what's going on if you live on the Route 66. And they're keeping it from the rest of the world. Now, it's on a ley line. We found it on a map. I'll show you the map later. And what happened was we just couldn't get off it. And we were just like going round and round on the same bit of fucking Route 66. So we go into like a place that is like, you got no choice. You got to visit this place or you ain't getting out alive, or you ain't getting off Route 66, full of like really lovely Pablo Indian types selling moccasins and stuff. It's not lovely. And they said to us, "Oh, you're on the loop, are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, we can't get off." "Yeah, you're gonna have to go 10 miles back down the road that way. There's a road that you can get off, but it'll say you can't get off on it. You probably can, and if it's closed, then you have to go back, come back this way. We'll see you again later." So like, what? We actually gotta go all the way around there and then come back to be back here where we are now. It's like, yeah, unless you can get off the loop. It's like, that's trippy. That's a bit like the Twilight Zone. It's like, them's the rules. So off we go. Okay, so we end up later on in this town called Red River. Admittedly, right, we were, you know, a bit tired. Really weird, okay, is we pulled up outside this CBD shop, okay, and we say, or my friend who's in the back, Tony, she's like, "Well, I need fucking beef jerky or my head's going to pop off because I'm so fucking high. So we got to get a beef jerky." So we pull outside the CBD shop. We go in there and we say to the guy in the CBD shop, "Are we still on Route 66? He's going, "The loop, eh?" It's like, "You know about it?" It's like, "Yeah, really weird shit's going on Route 66, guys." I'm like, okay. And then he starts talking straight away about simulation. So it was like, so then it was like, okay, being as this is so fucking trippy, we're going to go for it. "I know you're a CBD shop, but do you sell beef jerky?" He was like, "Well, no, CBD shop." Okay. So we go outside into the car park to spark up, you know, collect our thoughts. And then there's a tap on the window, and it's the guy from the CBD shop. He said, "The weirdest fucking thing has just happened. A guy's just turned up with a shitload of beef jerky." It's like, okay, that makes perfect sense. Of course you would go in a CBD shop to score beef jerky, which we did. And there was this amazing Pablo Indian guy who I nearly collided heads with 3 times, who was like, with light and love. It was amazing. And he sold us all a beef jerky, which was the best beef jerky in the history of life. If you're a vegan, yeah.